Welcome. I thought I would give you a video today that I hope will explain what the phrase surrender really means. You've only got to look at the external world and how that is very much associated with what comes as feelings of defeat, of demoralization, of not exactly the most conducive feelings. But before we get on to that, I'd like to do a recap on the two live videos yesterday. I have asserted several times on this channel that we are the living representation of the Great Pyramid of Giza. That reflects what we are the living embodiment of. I gave you a demonstration of this, which I hope you have tried for yourself, where you go from standing to attention like a pillar, because that's what the pyramid is described as, a pillar. And you go to the position of stand easy. So you're taking an active step by standing easy, and in doing so, you're basically replicating one side of a pyramid, because your body, your lower half, because it's to do with a lower self that is connected with Earth, is taking on that shape. You are becoming that form. So it requires then to place the cornerstone, which is all going on internally. The casing stones are effectively representing your aura. We can see evidence of this if we look at the external world with the education system. Why is it a 12 times table? What is 12 times 12? What is encoded in the Great Pyramid of Giza? That same number. Now, a tenet of Archaic's channel is something is true, it can be seen from multiple angles. And I would totally agree with that statement, because I can look at other channels like True Love, how Yolanda decodes things and shows that this is an interactive realm. It is for us to... We're in basically like a crazy house. So are you transfixed by the distorted mirrors and what you're seeing reflected back? Would you say that is a true image of yourself? I'm just going to turn that solar power thing off because it's making a noise in the background. Silence is golden. Easy to switch off the distraction, the noise. You'll notice this with when you go into the material world, i.e. into a store, how pretty much all of them seem to just be playing some sort of music, noise, which may actually be off-putting if you're focused on a mental list of what groceries you're going to buy or what you've actually gone to buy, and that can be a huge distraction because it is very much in the material world. But what was interesting yesterday, I can't remember if I mentioned it on one of the two lives, but between those, the 4-hour window between those two lives, I put the radio on while I recharged the phone. And what came on the radio was a program that was centered around Beethoven. So we had the Pastoral Symphony, number 6, that Beethoven gave the movement's actual written, it gave a program, so you have joyous feelings arriving in the country. Well, we've definitely got that here. The Thanksgiving after the thunderstorm, because it was, and same as today, it's a day of intermittent showers and then sunshine and cloud moving over and then intermittent blue skies. It is just reflecting that this is a realm of contrast. So I don't need to go into the negative, oh, it's raining. I can let that pass, because I also have to appreciate that nature needs that supply of water for life. But what was interesting, and it's something I've sort of alluded to, that Beethoven, he was the first freelance composer. He went his own way. He was told he could not write music, and he didn't listen, as this sort of joke. But there's a truth in it, because he went deaf. But what is interesting about Beethoven is his lifespan begins 6 years after the 1764 Phoenix event. His life ends 6 years before the midway marker to the next Phoenix event of 1902. So the midway marker is 69 years, which gives you 1833. Beethoven passed in 1827, so he sits exactly between the 1764 Phoenix event year and the midway marker to the next one. So he represents a chapter. He represents a way of coming out of the ashes of the phoenix. We do have a phoenix inside of us. When you have those big events in your life where your world may have that, you may have that feeling that your world is entirely collapsed around you. Well, that's the phoenix doing a controlled destruction of things to jolt you on your path, on your spiritual path, your path of growth. You'll see that is reflected in the material world. Whereas instead of expanded consciousness, it has become expanded waistline, where it has been literalized and given a physicality to it. So this is why you have so much obesity in this world. So going back to the Beethoven, what then came, or how the program ended, was Symphony number 7. It is in A major, so it's the first, the Alpha, and it is opus number 92. Well, 9 and 2 is 11, which is a doorway. There is no coincidences in the perceived accepted term of the word coincidence, but as I've explained, if you look at the definition of the word coincidence, what it is actually showing you, there is no apparent connection, because there is no apparition of anything physical. It is something that is going on, and I've had some most beautiful testimonies of series of events that have happened in people's lives. What are the chances of this happening, of meeting this person who happens to know this person, which leads you to receive a wish fulfilled, whether it be a car, a house, or whatever it is. But you also have to take the active step. So standing easy is an affirmation inside oneself, whether you consciously know it or not, that you are a living representation of the Great Pyramid of Giza. But we'll come on to this word surrender now. Actually, just before we do that, the perspective I often come from is one of classical music, because class I see all. Now, am I saying from that I am the teacher and you are the student? In some ways, yes. Again, it's perspective. But don't be fooled into thinking that that gives me a sort of higher standing than you. Because my interaction with comments and things, the inspiration that comes from you. A teacher is only as good as the feedback that he is going to get from the student, he or she is going to get from the student. It's two-way traffic. It is never a hierarchical thing of there's the teacher up there and there are the students down there. It is an equal exchange and interaction of energy. Learning can be a beautiful thing, and if you don't believe me, I'm going to say, well, you can call off A little play on words. But I invite you to look at the composer Carl Orff and a quote that he made. I'm going to have to paraphrase this because I've been catnapped and I don't want to disturb Demiana. She's asleep on my lap. But basically, he said, children do not like learning, but they do like play. So if you can introduce learning into play, they learn while they play. And it doesn't just necessarily mean children. Think of the term children of God. So whether you're in an adult body or in a child body, it matters not, because it is outside of time. So have fun with things. One thing that comes out, and you can find these on YouTube if you type in Carl Orff, Move Beyond Carmina Burana, which is what he's most well known for. And look at the collaboration he did with, I think the composer is Glassenhauer, called Schoolwerk. And part of that, you've got this intermediate stage between conducting an orchestra and dancing, where you can go through the motions. You can put a piece of music on the radio. You can do you can be moving around. You can be waving your arms. You can be immersing yourself into the rhythm, into the melody, into the harmony of that music. And with your imagination, you can actually conduct an orchestra without even knowing anything about music. You just go with the flow. It's a wonderful little exercise. It's something you can do if you find yourself that you are physically incapacitated in any way. So maybe you're bedbound, but you can move your arms, so you can still conduct. You can still have a little bit of exercise and fun at the same time, rather than that perception of, oh, I've got to do 50 press-ups and it's become a chore. If you keep things with a perspective of having fun with it, how much easier the flow then becomes, because you're removing a gatekeeper inside yourself that is putting up a negative barrier. Your perception is one of, oh, it's work, it's a chore. Because this realm, again, is about, you've got to work yourself out of things. You've got to earn a living, but you are living. You don't want to end up, well, you're going to end up probably in an urn with your physical remains anyway at some point. But until that happens, why not just enjoy the moments? Have fun with things. So the classical, class I see all. So we go on to this word surrender. I've given you, and I'm pretty sure you've seen so many times, the negative polarity of that. But the thing with words, with etymology, is often there will be two letters reduced to one. It thinly disguises things, or adding in a second letter. So a perfect example of this would be the word God and the word good. So the good news is the God news, as it were. It's actually just your higher self that is communicating. If you think of this realm like a computer game, but the game that you're playing has got some sort of interference. Maybe it's got water that's gone into the circuitry, and it's causing a disruption. So the player that you are controlling is behaving erratically. It's not following the instructions of the player. That is the material realm negative default programming, where the conscious mind thinks it knows best and goes off on a different trajectory, not tuning in and listening to that internal voice that actually does know. So the surrender, if we break that down, we remove one of the R's, because there's where the double letters have confused things. If it's one R, look at the word surrender. You've got sure, and you've got an end to it, an ender, a sure ender. When you have the confidence, the trust in self, you will find the sure end. You will be on the shore rather than on the waters, as it were. You're from a place of solid ground. through the experience, you're able to then, well, like radio, so we receive and then we broadcast. I could go over what has been told to me from personal testimony of those that I've connected with, and how they have found this positive power inage rather than outage that came last Monday. And they've had some beautiful experiences, but all three of these people all have social media outlets, YouTube channels, and it's really for them to give their personal testimony, to share that good news with others, because it will help inspire. It will help you find that capstone. Hence, we're having a recap. There is a reason for everything, because there is a sun for everything. You can find it in everything and anything. So for me, the communication comes often through the radio, through classical music. So Beethoven is a wonderful inspiration. It's an archetype that I can aspire to use as a template. I'm not going to say I'm going to write 9 symphonies and 32 piano sonatas. I know it's a story I tell myself. I can't write music. But I can in a different way. I can use the resources I've got. I can use the social media. I can use YouTube. I can use the channel to broadcast, because I have received, and it's two-way traffic. So what has come in has been evaluated, has been weighed up inside, and that now is being broadcast out to extend that message. One of perspectives. Do you see it as surrender, as defeat, or do you see it as a sure end? Which comes back to remember the future. You create the future by remembering it. This impresses upon the subconscious that doesn't distinguish between good and bad. A reference to this would be Enoch, the biblical character Enoch. He was pure in his generations. Well, what is it that we generate? Thoughts, feelings, which change the chemical construct of our very cells. So you can become pure in what you generate. When you change your perspective, when you find that cornerstone inside oneself, when you open up that dialogue and allow the higher self, the gut feeling, intuition, that voice inside that is actually guiding you. So whereas in this material world, which is a photo-negative copy, it's a carbon copy of a real world, and it is so we can make the mistakes which are in a contained field that don't spill out into the real world of which this is a copy. So in the physical external, it's being deaf to the outside world and listening to that inner voice, composing and creating these masterworks that, just like Beethoven did, but not necessarily in music itself. It is just a blueprint pattern, and it is just beautiful the way it will come through the radio, through listening to other videos. Today the word surrender came from Scottish Gypsy Tarot, and it's like, yes, surrender, sure ender. So I left a comment on that, and a shout out to her channel. She's very close to 100,000 Ks, so subscribers. So I invite you to check out her channel and subscribe. It's not in detriment to any of the other tarot card channels that I have recommended before. Dove and Serpent Tarot, Sonia A333, the Majestic Tarot, Julie Paul, Madame Butterfly Tarot is another one. There are many more. just go with what feels right to you, but don't treat tarot as a way of predicting the future. See it more as you're holding counsel with yourself inside yourself. Weigh up the information internally and find that sure ender, that surrender to higher self. It's not a defeat, it is empowerment. The M power, so it's the electric and the magnetism, because it is the electricity of our conscious thoughts that interfere with the magnetism that is stopping that kundalini rising. It is reinforcing the gatekeepers inside ourselves. That's where they are. It's when we set the wrong boundaries, as it were, of that's not possible, oh, that's just coincidence. Or do we allow ourselves to move past that? Do we open up to see that everything is potential? It is all potential in this external world. It's whether we can perceive what is being reflected to us, whether we can decode that. So I invite you to listen to different channels. I would also recommend that you, every now and again, you put in something random. What would be the best thing? It comes down to what is the foundation of love, because we are building a sort of metaphorical Great Pyramid of Giza. We are becoming a pillar, as it were. Love is the strongest energy, but for there to be love, there has to be interest as the basis of that. If there is no interest, we're going to be half-hearted. You have to put the whole self in. You have to give it your all. You have to do it from the heart. Be heart-centered. Get to the heart of the matter. So go with what you are interested in. So it could be bowling. It could be, this is just purely random, crochet stitching. Or just follow a little bit of curiosity into something. Just select a different video. It will throw havoc into the algorithms because it's unpredictable. It is breaking pattern. You may find a little gem in the most unlikely of videos that would not seem connected, but everything is a reflection. You just got to look for those oyster pearls, those little bits of wisdom that can come through from all manner, all multiple angles, whether it be looking at the sky, looking at nature, listening to video channels, conversations, situations. It's whether we have that perception to actually see what is being reflected back, and then to internalize it and recognize it that it is all inside us. So we are as much a Stonehenge as we are a Great Pyramid of Giza. We are all teachers, we are all students. You can go through this through life in this world, and you can see it all in the very material, negative way. But would it not feel better? And that is the key word, feel. Would it not feel better to be able to go through this experience between birth and death that is far more conducive, far more positive? And where does it lead from there? How exciting is that? Same as what could be seen as a chore, that weekly shopping trip. Oh, I've got to go shopping again because I've run out. Well, change your perspective on it. I've got to go shopping again. How exciting. I wonder who I'm going to meet today. What am I going to encounter? What experiences am I going to have? Just be open to everything, but be able to discern what is being reflected. Find that internal recognition. See that there is a re-sun for everything, because it is all ways to try and get you to recognize, to reconfigure, to create new neural pathways within your brain. And also recognize that the real brain is at the heart. It is the same cellular structure. to actually start seeing things in a whole new way that will open up new ways of being able for this incoming information that is actually guiding you. So it can be purely from what is reflected from the external world, provided you can remove that distorted mirror and actually see the clarity in the same way that surrender now has two very different polarities, but it comes down to your perception of the Word. But the Word was made flesh, was it not? So it says. So whilst in that flesh, it is recognizing the Word. Recognizing the words. Etymology is a great place to start. What True Love channel talks about as how everything is interactive, be it films, the radio, television, it really can communicate with you. It's whether you have the gatekeepers in place that are only seeing the superficial level, or can you penetrate the deeper meanings of things? And of course then weigh it up inside, in your internal chambers. There's all kinds of activity going on inside, which I'm sure you already know, whether it be the way your mind is just racing and creating all these stories, often negative. Oh, what am I going to do if this doesn't happen? What if it rains today? What if... Well, just do like the system does. Set up a win-win. You don't pick a side. You back both sides. You look at both sides of things. And a perfect example is, well, we've got intermittent showers. Rather than do a live video, I'll sit indoors. I've been catnapped by Damiana, who's still on my lap anyway. So I can let her rest. And there's another prompt to myself there. I mentioned the word already. For the foundation for there to be love is interest. Well, let's just break that word down. It's in, so it's internal. It's rest, because it's not activity. It's finding that peace. The rest is the peace. The interest. So it's in. It's ter references earth. So it's happening here in this reality, in this physical plane. So it's interest. And then if it's interesting to you, it's also in reaffirmed in the ing. G represents Gaia. You can see it like the letter G. Actually, you do it the other way round. So it's almost like a complete circle, but then it is tied, which is why you've got the shape that you are given for the letter G, whether it be in the capital form or the lowercase form. Now, the lowercase form is like a circle, and it's got a tail because it is hooked to this physical reality, just as our true self is hooked in to these physical bodies to experience this physical reality. What you're going to take away from this, your takeaway, is not going to be an Uber Eat. It's going to be the experience that you gain here. It is actually benevolent, because this is a diagnostic zone for testing things out. This is where to make the mistakes, because we learn best from the mistakes, but are they really mistakes? Ugh. Like, can't even say it, just to sort of almost reiterate that. That really is the physical body telling on the mind. It's giving a prompt. It's a recognition. So it's not a mistake to get tongue-tied, as it were. It's just a different level of perception on things. So I hope that has helped recap what was said on the live videos. It has helped. I hope it has given you a new way of looking at things. Coming back, as I've done before, it's a sort of reminder. The courses that I offer are very much to give you that empowerment to find this for yourself. Hello, we've been double catnapped now. We've got Junus on the lap as well. But we're coming up to the half hour. I think that's plenty long enough. So I just wanted to share that in the moment. And do let me know in the comments how that all feels. Weigh it up inside yourself. Does it feel right to you? Only you will know the answer. Everything else is an opinion. But it's entirely up to you what you do with the information. I hope you all see it as a way of something that will serve you, that will empower you to become the best version of yourself. That's really what we're here for, to become our best version. This is why it is a diagnostic zone. And you don't want to die agnostic. That is to know that there is a God, but you're not really sure, because you have not sure-ended. You have not reached the stage where you truly know yourself in your true essence form, not the physical form that masks that. That in itself is like a mirror, and it can be used by the lower conscious minds to give egoic displays. Everybody wishes to portray themselves in a certain way to the outside world, whether it be for good reasons or bad reasons. It's a fact. It's undeniable. Excuse me. So yeah, I think we'll end that there. And as always, I'm going to say unconditional love to you all. I hope you found this inspiring, uplifting, and may it unlock something for you. May it help move one of those gatekeepers out the way inside yourself, because it will open up to a whole new perception of this reality. And I really do hope that you can find that it's not all bad. How can it be when it's showing contrast to everything? So it's a yin and a yang. But look at the way the system does it. It sets up a win-win. So it doesn't matter which way it goes, you're always going to come out on top. And it is the top we're looking for, that capstone, after all. So unconditional love to you all. Until the next video. Mwah. Have a beautiful day.